I am not just a student of research, but I'm speaking as a victim of these gruesome circumstances around the Nigerian people, where innocent lives have been taken away by some people who think they have more right than others in this nation. And some people have reduced it to herders and farmers clash. No, sir, this has been ongoing. I grew up in northern Nigeria. My father was a pastor with the Assemblies of God Church. One morning we just woke up in Assemblies of God Church, Samaru Zaria, somewhere adjacent the north gate of Samaru Zaria. My father was a pastor. All of a sudden we woke up in the morning, no provocation, nothing. And the next thing we were hearing was people were just running all over our house and the church with machetes and all of that. The next thing was they started pouring petrol all over the building, both the church and the house, because our house was attached to the church. And the next thing was flames. Everything was burned right down to ashes. We narrowly escaped, found a place where we could shelter ourselves in the military barracks. Eventually, they brought us back to the lecturers' quarters of ABU Zaria, and we had to camp with a family for weeks and months before we could rebuild and start life all over again. That is long, long, long. I'm talking about 1986, 87. What about the Metasine situation? Metasine was a sect of the Islamic religion who went around burning and destroying and killing Christians back in the 80s. This is far before there was anything like farmers and herders clash. Then fast forward. What about in the year 2000, where over 2,000 people were killed in Kaduna? Year 2000. What about the over 300 people that were victims of the Miss World in November 2002? All of them, they were not a part of the Miss World. They were just on their own. Something happened somewhere else, and they became victims of it. Lives were killed, houses were destroyed, and whenever they are carrying out this charade, they will be shouting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and they will carry their matches and carry whatever they have, and they will move in their numbers. They will move in their numbers. And everybody on their way that is not chanting what they are chanting becomes a victim. I can go on and on. A few years ago, I was preaching in Kaduna for a great man of God. And I only succeeded in preaching Sunday morning service. After the service, the next morning, as we were preparing for the next service on Monday, the next thing I was hearing was, the whole city is on fire. Kaduna is on fire. Please stay in the hotel room. Don't come out. They are killing, they are burning churches, they are killing everybody. That is how we were stuck in a hotel. Even in the hotel, we were not sure of ourselves, because they were going from hotel to hotel, room to room, killing people that were not chanting Allahu Akbar. And somehow, God saved our souls. After about 4 days, we were able to leave Kaduna. But unfortunately, a friend of mine who was a pastor, Reverend Northcote Andrew of blessed memory, was caught in the midst of this as he was escaping for his life. They caught him because he was wearing a collar of a bishop. They hacked him to death, dug the ground, buried him and put a cross there. It is that little wooden cross that made people know that there was a corpse in that place. And this, my friend, was buried. These are real life situations. So for somebody to just sit down in the comfort of his home, maybe somewhere in the south, and be saying there's no such thing in northern Nigeria, my brother, you've not been a part of it. We've been right in the heart of the fire. I remembered one night, these Muslim boys were all over the place in my school, and they were shouting Allahu Akbar. They were looking for me. I had to escape. That night, my saving grace was that I found a female hostel and I slept under the bed. By the next day, I left town. For what? I did nothing. No provocation. Just because I am preaching the gospel. And of course, some of them believe that once you are not of the Islamic faith, you are an infidel. And they believe that if you kill an infidel, you will sleep with 7 virgins. All of this kind of indoctrination that leads to violence at the slightest provocation. Whether it has to do with the people or not, you just get on the streets. What about the Reinhard Bonnke crusade? I'm talking about the Reinhard Bonnke crusade in Kano, where people were hacked, macheted, and killed just because a crusade where the gospel of Christ was going to be preached. And that is why I thank God for people like President Donald Trump, who lent his voice to what is going on here. At least, for whatever is what, there's an ongoing conversation all over the world. The matter is no more put under the carpet. And we don't want just conversations. We want some action. We want some action. And in the midst of all this, it snowballed into the herders and farmers clash. It snowballed into banditry. And everything becomes very complicated. Very complicated. And people are dying by the day. There are people in northern Nigeria, places like Borno State, places like Plateau State, places like Benue State, places like southern Kaduna, where whole villages have been taken over by some of these bandits, by some of these Islamic extremists, by some of these Boko Haram people. They've taken over whole villages, driven the villagers away. And somebody said there is no such thing in Nigeria. Why do we have IDP camps? Why do we have IDP camps when we never had an earthquake? We never had an earth tremor. Why do we have IDP camps when there is no natural disaster? Other than the fact that people are being made victims of what they have no knowledge of. In a secular state like Nigeria, where all religions are permitted to be practiced, this ought not to be allowed. This ought not to be allowed at all. Our government have a duty. Now, when you live in a country like that, where you don't know what becomes of you the next day, you go out, you don't know if you're going to come back. When you go to church, you're not sure if you're going to come back. When you live in such a country, it's almost as if there's no government. And because the first responsibility of government is security of lives and properties. That's the first responsibility of government, whether at the federal level, at the state level, or at the local government level. Because the population don't have access to arms. But unfortunately, some of these bandits, some of these terrorists, some of these extremists, they are carrying AK-47s, and you wonder, where did they get them from? In fact, it's unfortunate that at a point in Nigeria, there was even a local government in Borno State where Boko Haram drove all our Nigerian security forces and put their flag there. It's very unfortunate. And the government of Nigeria needs to do something quickly. Otherwise, where this is taking us to, we do not know. This has to come to an end. The ADP camps need to be emptied. Let people go back to their homes. Let people go back to their villages. Let people go back to their farmlands. Let people go back to their habitations so that they can live normal lives. So they can live the life they are supposed to live on earth. You know, this is very important. And this conversation is so critical at this time. And it's critical that I add my voice to it as a victim of this situation in a country like Nigeria. And I'm believing God that the day has come when this menace will surely come to an end. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Amen.
Almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame? As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm
the second coming.
Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Trotro from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Obey you later.
Of course.
Sasa don't want to hush, Sasa don't want to hush. Yeah, you go be the luckiest. Copy from to Jeb be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Senya God the apple boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, Mommy, simple direction. Mr. Goodluck no check me well.
Yeah,
man.
Easy car. Or dial *712#.
The devil is a liar.
He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his birthday.
Oh, how romantic!
And he followed the prompts. Yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial *712#. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family payment seminar? Before December, may release a motivational bomb. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Chia winning Nara, we ding at the baby dapa. Media dear Sonko Cran Bremo. Now that what we are with the air, Japan, and Bremo. And no any summer spices. Summer spices again. And we will remember various flavors. Ubenya a yako, Ubenya Nemchi, you do good jollof woman and we get dead. Ubenya you do quam, you do for you. Hot Nako Pibito. Na Emma with Gianni, and yet dead. When you mean ya, young con your cocotian uncle for Eka.
Down with your communication, you all enjoy Utuba, that Samu spices. One in the essence, no five. I'm going to get that. Samu spices in a Sabi, Daddy so say. Samu spices, Moon Sam.
Samu spices, Yama chicken.
Samu spices. In Sanaka in Ketwa, measure 10 grams. Yawa chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, and jollof, and the flavors of Bebre.
Samu spices, yes, I can.
FDRJ Jadien Kratuyatum.
Step into a world of excellence with Gold Key Properties, Ghana's premium real estate developer since 1997. From luxurious residences to Grade A commercial spaces, we have spent close to 3 decades shaping the skyline and transforming the way people live and work. Join us at the upcoming Mikasa Home and Property Fair 2025 on the 5th and 6th of December at the Icon Event Center, East Legon from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come meet the team, ask all your real estate questions, and enjoy special discounts. See you there. Gold Key Properties, transforming the landscape.
Oh, who's say? And then media semestio. Canny pan, na sana, Monsieur na ward me. A drain I didn't quano. Kingdom Garlic Bitters.
No, more benefit.
Me benefit wine. Also, what told dear?
Abrewa, this mama, Abrente, Mishuve.
One antique crown our bread. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and in the capsules. Nanya, what dear Bribia.
Kingdom Garlic Bitters, and the capsules. Assembly, you. A devil when I'm when I say.
Send your name, wife, company, one personal. Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules, and tea. Say, see, I'm password.
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules. A many genius from Debefi, Abrebia. Obebia o de poor hauno. Edro bakupa wihiane tremendous capsules. Tremendous capsules. Esiesie uma uye obesima. Edro you benya bi obebia eton robia. Kingdom Herbal. No challenger.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late, of course.
You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the pure cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky. Everybody go be that luckiest.
God Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it toy, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, mommy, Simple direction. Mr. Good Luck no check me way.
Yeah, man. Easy car. Or dial star 712 hash.
The devil is a liar.
He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his birthday.
Oh, how romantic!
And he followed the prompts. Yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, be your family Pemasimo. Before December, may release a motivational album. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calcate Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calcates. Happy smile.
West Africa's soil yields global treasures. Cocoa, cashew, shea, and cotton. They power industries across the world. Yet for our region, the greatest value still slips away, exported raw, taking with it jobs, industries, and the promise of shared prosperity. The real question is no longer what we produce, but who captures the final reward. True prosperity lies in the value we add right here at home. That's why the 4th edition of the EBIT President's Roundtable will gather the architects of Africa's prosperity and Africa's transformation to answer one defining question: how do we finance the journey from the farm to the port? Join Dr. George Ejikum Donkor and some leading experts as EBIT leads a high-level dialogue to unlock financing, empower local industries, and turn West Africa's raw potential into industrial power. Be part of the conversation redefining our economic future, live on Metro TV, DSTV Channel 277, and EBIT platforms on November 24, 2025 at 11 a.m. EBIT President's Roundtable 2025. From the farm to the port, financing the value chains of West Africa's cash crops. My name is Anita Erskine, and it will be an honor to host you.
So we just display armor cars on an Independence Day, and we go and park the armor cars at the barracks. Why don't you move those tankers to the Galamsey sites and fire in the Galamsey areas and create the military presence? These people, they have been trained to survive in the jungle. Let them live there for the next 6 months. Galamsey will stop. Not a soul will come and dig anything there again. But we have polished the tankers and we are keeping them in the barracks, and we have said that Galamsey, they ever stop here, and meanwhile, they are poisoning us. Our waters are being poisoned. Every day we are dying of poisonous water, and we are spending millions to treat the waters. Garden eggs, cassava. We are using chemically polluted water to water cotombre. Very soon, the cotombre that your wife will serve you, there are chemicals in it. If the people are being stubborn, move, troop. Let's show on TV trucks, armored cars, because we don't go to war. All those trucks, they don't go to war. When was the last time we went to war? When was the last time Ghana went to war? We don't go to war with it. But there is war against Galamsey. People are killing the citizens. 33 million lives are at risk. So move the tankers there and keep the army at all the Galamsey sites for the next 6 months. They shouldn't go home. They should there. It's peacekeeping mission. We are every Independence Day. Then we come. That's right. Then they show army people tossing and jumping and whatever, and they're cocking guns. It doesn't mean anything to us when a group of boys and Chinese people have traveled from their country and they are poisoning our water. Where do the Chinese come from? They are coming through our immigration officers, and then the annoying part is that they are carrying guns and they are giving birth to children. They are sleeping with our girls at the service and have cast Chinese people. You see, somebody has put poison in this water, and this is a killer liquid. He says that I want you to drink it. And I have a gun to stop this person who is poisoning this woman. And I'm looking at myself, before we can stop this guy from poisoning this woman, it is me and you. You who have the gun. Our waters is spoiling. Government is spending millions of dollars to do, and the water is gradually becoming untreatable. It means that very soon we have to start importing water from other countries. That's what it means. And we have the capacity and the ability to stop it. We have the capacity to stop it. Move the military, move the tankers to position themselves in all the Galamsey sites and stop all forms of mining for now, for the next 6 months, so that our waters return back, and then decide who mines, and they must mine responsibly. They want us to start dropping dead on the street before they wake up.
Abel Damina is my name. Look. I couldn't wait to get back home and be a part of the ongoing conversation. There's been this conversation going on whether there's a genocide in Nigeria or there's no genocide in Nigeria. And I listen to certain individuals who say there's no such thing in Nigeria. Well, whether you call it genocide or you don't call it genocide, let me speak as a victim. I am not just a student of research, but I'm speaking as a victim of these gruesome circumstances around the Nigerian people, where innocent lives have been taken away by some people who think they have more right than others in this nation. And some people have reduced it to herders and farmers clash. No, sir, this has been ongoing. I grew up in northern Nigeria. My father was a pastor with the Assemblies of God Church. One morning we just woke up in Assemblies of God Church, Samaru Zaria, somewhere adjacent the north gate of Samaru Zaria. My father was a pastor. All of a sudden we woke up in the morning, no provocation, nothing. And the next thing we were hearing was people were just running all over our house and the church with machetes and all of that. The next thing was they started pouring petrol all over the building, both the church and the house, because our house was attached to the church. And the next thing was flames. Everything was burned right down to ashes. We narrowly escaped, found a place where we could shelter ourselves in the military barracks. Eventually, they brought us back to the lecturers' quarters of ABU Zaria, and we had to camp with a family for weeks and months before we could rebuild and start life all over again. That is long. I'm talking about 1986, 87. What about the Metasine situation? Metasine was a sect of the Islamic religion who went around burning and destroying and killing Christians back in the 80s. This is far before there was anything like farmers and herders clash. Then fast forward. What about in the year 2000, where over 2,000 people were killed in Kaduna? Year 2000. What about the over 300 people that were victims of the Miss World in November 2002? All of them, they were not a part of the Miss World. They were just on their own. Something happened somewhere else, and they became victims of it. Lives were killed, houses were destroyed, and whenever they are carrying out this charade, they will be shouting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and they will carry their matches and carry whatever they have, and they will move in their numbers. And everybody on their way that is not chanting what they are chanting becomes a victim. I can go on and on. A few years ago, I was preaching in Kaduna for a great man of God. And I only succeeded in preaching Sunday morning service. After the service, the next morning, as we were preparing for the next service on Monday, the next thing I was hearing was, the whole city is on fire. Kaduna is on fire. Please stay in the hotel room. Don't come out. They are burning churches. They are killing everybody. That is how we were stuck in a hotel. Even in the hotel, we were not sure of ourselves, because they were going from hotel to hotel, room to room, killing people that were not chanting Allahu Akbar. And somehow God saved our souls. After about 4 days, we were able to leave Kaduna. But unfortunately, a friend of mine who was a pastor, Reverend Northcote Andrew of blessed memory, was caught in the midst of this as he was escaping for his life. They caught him because he was wearing a collar of a bishop. They hacked him to death, dug the ground, buried him and put a cross there. It is that little wooden cross that made people know that there was a corpse in that place. And this, my friend, was buried. These are real life situations. So for somebody to just sit down in the comfort of his home, maybe somewhere in the south, and be saying there's no such thing in northern Nigeria, my brother, you've not been a part of it. We've been right in the heart of the fire. I remembered one night, these Muslim boys were all over the place in my school, and they were shouting, Allahu Akbar. They were looking for me. I had to escape. That night, my saving grace was that I found a female hostel and I slept under the bed. By the next day, I left town. For what? I did nothing. No provocation. Just because I am preaching the gospel. And of course, some of them believe that once you are not of the Islamic faith, you are an infidel. And they believe that if you kill an infidel, you will sleep with 7 virgins. All of this kind of indoctrination that leads to violence at the slightest provocation. Whether it has to do with the people or not, you just get on the streets. What about the Reinhard Bonnke crusade? I'm talking about the Reinhard Bonnke crusade in Kano, where people were hacked, macheted, and killed just because a crusade where the gospel of Christ was going to be preached. And that is why I thank God for people like President Donald Trump, who lent his voice to what is going on here. At least, for whatever is what, there's an ongoing conversation all over the world. The matter is no more put under the carpet. And we don't want just conversations. We want some action. We want some action. And in the midst of all this, it snowballed into the herders and farmers clash. It snowballed into banditry. And everything becomes very complicated. Very complicated. And people are dying by the day. There are people in northern Nigeria, places like Borno State, places like Plateau State, places like Benue State, places like southern Kaduna, where whole villages have been taken over by some of these bandits, by some of these Islamic extremists, by some of these Boko Haram people. They've taken over whole villages, driven the villagers away. And somebody said there is no such thing in Nigeria. Why do we have IDP camps? Why do we have IDP camps? When we never had an earthquake, we never had an earth tremor, why do we have IDP camps when there is no natural disaster? Other than the fact that people are being made victims of what they have no knowledge of. In a secular state like Nigeria, where all religions are permitted to be practiced, this ought not to be allowed. This ought not to be allowed at all. Our government have a duty. Now, when you live in a country like that, where you don't know what becomes of you the next day, you go out, you don't know if you're going to come back. When you go to church, you're not sure if you're going to come back. When you live in such a country, it's almost as if there's no government. And because the first responsibility of government is security of lives and properties. That's the first responsibility of government. Whether at the federal level, at the state level, or at the local government level. Because the population don't have access to arms. But unfortunately, some of these bandits, some of these terrorists, some of these extremists, they are carrying AK-47s. And you wonder, where did they get them from? In fact, it's unfortunate that at a point in Nigeria, there was even a local government in Borno State where Boko Haram drove all our Nigerian security forces and put their flag there. It's very unfortunate. And the government of Nigeria needs to do something quickly. Otherwise, where this is taking us to, we do not know. This has to come to an end. The ADP camps need to be emptied. Let people go back to their homes. Let people go back to their villages. Let people go back to their farmlands. Let people go back to their habitations so that they can live normal lives. So they can live the life they are supposed to live on earth. This is very, very important. And this conversation is so critical at this time. And it's critical that I add my voice to it as a victim of this situation in a country like Nigeria. And I'm believing God that the day has come when this menace will surely come to an end. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Amen.
I want you to share with us what has to be done from a protecting these places of worship internationally and in your continent.
Right. Thank you, Mercedes. First of all, I think we must acknowledge the courage that our brothers have shown in the face of these crimes being perpetrated against them for the faith they believe in. I think we must give it up for our brothers. So let's put our hands together for them. Now, Mercedes, with that said, I just want to draw our minds to the point that All throughout human history, anytime the church has been under attack, it is the church that defends itself. So Christendom should not be positioned to be some sort of a weak link for the other people to be emboldened that they have some monopoly over violence and they will continue to persecute the Christian faith. But with that said, I believe that governments, especially on the African continent, have a social
I've known His Excellency Aliu Mahama since the late 80s and early 90s when he was my neighbor at the Vitin Estates in Tamale. We were neighbors. And then when he became vice president, he still made sure that anytime we met, he related to me as a neighbor and somebody he knew. He was also one of the people who believed in our youth explosion and even honored us with his presence. I remember at the time his staff said he was busy, he had so many schedules, and so he would not have time to attend the youth explosion. I went to meet with him, and immediately he heard I was around. He broke all the protocol and said, "Bishop, come meet with me." And he called and said he will stop everything and come and stand with us with youth explosion as we dealt with that subject on indiscipline.
You know, this dear gentleman of Ghana has been on a campaign against indiscipline since he took office. And as we are also dealing with this subject of indiscipline, we are grateful to God to have him here to fellowship with us and to share with us what is on his heart. Will you please stand on your feet, giving honor to whom honor is due? Let's welcome His Excellency, the Vice President of Ghana, Alhaji Aliu Mahama.
Bishop, my very good friend. We've known each other way back in Tamale, where he started his life. So it's not today. We've known each other several years back. I'm happy to be here. Before I start, my brothers and sisters, join me in a clap offering for the blessings of God on this great country of ours. Indiscipline in our society has been a concern of the World Miracle Church under its dynamic leadership. The invitation letter to me was rightly worried about the negative impact of indiscipline on the future leadership of this country. My brothers and sisters, let me ask a straight question. How do we break the power of indiscipline? The simple answer is by being disciplined. With faith, we can renew our strength and mount up as eagles in the sky of success. What we must avoid, ladies and gentlemen, is to see indiscipline as just another evil. We cannot also pursue it with negative perception of difficulty. Rather, my brothers and sisters, we must see discipline as a reflection of the best of the individual. loving one's neighbor through self-sacrifice is the highest, one would say, is the highest compliment our youth ought to aspire to. And on this note, Presiding Bishop, my brothers and sisters, I thank you all for this invitation and attention. May God bless us all.
On the occasion of his leaving us for eternity, I want to say farewell to him, and I want to say this was a man who didn't hide from the people he knew, and if he met you, being vice president didn't change him. He was still himself. Even after he stepped out of office, we kept our relationship. I want to say goodbye as he faces his maker in eternity. May he rest in perfect peace.
And find purest gold in miry clay, turning sinners into saints. Hallelujah.
I am truly disappointed. A+ is a brethren of mine. I don't know how to handle this, but I will handle it. I am utterly disappointed. This guy is nothing but a blackmailer. A dirty blackmailer. Jesus. So you are no longer fighting for the people, you are fighting your own battles, blackmailing people. Hi. So the decentralization of the waste management team that he was talking about, he did not mean it. He was only doing it to blackmail a certain guy who he knew will finally run back to him, pay him money, which he will selfishly push into his pocket and forget. You are blackmailing people so that you'll get a certain attention. This guy does not deserve to be an MP. Nobody deserves to be an MP, my brother, my sister, if their pension is blackmail. Paul Adumo actually hurt you. You were angry. As a lawmaker who believes in the law, what should you do? You are in parliament to make laws for the people. You decide to be unlawful, to go out there and fight your battle on the streets by blackmailing somebody's business. Now the person comes to you and pays you. You are not even ashamed of taking the money. This is a bribe taker who, my brother, my sister, should be impeached immediately from parliament. I'm disappointed in A+. I'm truly disappointed. No, we can't allow this. If an MP, my brother, my sister, can tell you that he was on a certain agenda, and the agenda was not supposed to benefit the people of Ghana, but himself, he became unlawful so that he would be able to get his own back. I hope you know what that means. I am most disappointed. In fact, I am so disappointed. Maybe I need to write to the Speaker of Parliament and draw his attention to this publication. I'm waiting for the day that I'll be told that it is a fake publication, it's not true, and that A+ didn't say this. Then I'll say, yes, bro, I knew you would not say this.
Oh, good evening, good evening, I will be good evening, I will be any other program, that's so any other program, that's so
I've known His Excellency Aliu Mahama since the late 80s and early 90s when he was my neighbor at the Vitin Estates in Tamale. We were neighbors. And then when he became vice president, he still made sure that anytime we met, he related to me as a neighbor and somebody he knew. He was also one of the people who believed in our youth explosion and even honored us with his presence. I remember at the time his staff said he was busy, he had so many schedules, and so he would not have time to attend the youth explosion. I went to meet with him, and immediately he heard I was around. He broke all the protocol and said, "Bishop, come meet with me." And he called and said he will stop everything and come and stand with us with youth explosion as we dealt with that subject on indiscipline.
You know, this dear gentleman of Ghana has been on a campaign against indiscipline since he took office. And as we are also dealing with this subject of indiscipline, we are grateful to God to have him here to fellowship with us and to share with us what is on his heart. Will you please stand on your feet, giving honor to whom honor is due? Let's welcome His Excellency, the Vice President of Ghana, Alhaji Aliu Mahama.
Presiding Bishop, my very good friend. We've known each other way back in Tamale, where he started his life. So he's not today. We've known each other several years back. I'm happy to be here. Before I start, my brothers and sisters, join me in a clap offering for the blessings of God on this great country of ours. Indiscipline in our society has been a concern of the World Miracle Church under its dynamic leadership. The invitation letter to me was rightly worried about the negative impact of indiscipline on the future leadership of this country. My brothers and sisters, let me ask a straight question. How do we break the power of indiscipline? The simple answer is by being disciplined. With faith, we can renew our strength and mount up as eagles in the sky of success. What we must avoid, ladies and gentlemen, is to see indiscipline as just another evil. We cannot also pursue it with negative perception of difficulty. Rather, my brothers and sisters, we must see discipline as a reflection of the best of the individual. Loving one's neighbor through self-sacrifice is the highest, one would say, is the highest compliment our youth ought to aspire to. And on this note, Presiding Bishop, my brothers and sisters, I thank you all for this invitation and attention. May God bless us all.
On the occasion of his leaving us for eternity, I want to say farewell to him, and I want to say this was a man who didn't hide from the people he knew, and if he met you, being vice president didn't change him. He was still himself. Even after he stepped out of office, we kept our relationship. I want to say goodbye as he faces his maker in eternity. May he rest in perfect peace.
And find purest gold in miry clay, turning sinners into saints. Hallelujah.
I didn't know that the parliament traffic would be like that too. Me myself, I was advocating for parliaments to do things in the night. Hey, ready?
The government official.
Charlie, getting out was a crazy business. Okay, so Kosi Kwati is here. Intim Fojo hasn't come. I'm sure he's in the thick of the process. And then we have Aliu Mahama and things. Okay.
Before that, we have the GGE.
We have GJ, SML Manasseh, a champion disclaimer. What else is there? I've written something here. Okatechi is first, then SML. GJ, you have Jufo's picture. And then a champion. Then we end that one. Then we go to. So we start with Aliu.
Yes.
Okay.
After the interview, take break so that we can prepare the military story properly.
The military story is a lot.
Yes.
So,
there are a lot of things.
So how many people have been confirmed dead now? How many?
6.
Six
From
till 6.
yesterday, it hasn't changed.
It hasn't. Oh, we thank God. Okay, cool. It's what 8 minutes to the time. My goodness. Okay, let's play something and then we move.
I am truly disappointed. A+ is a brethren of mine. I don't know how to handle this, but I will handle it. I am utterly disappointed. This guy.
And I have to sincerely apologize. Getting out of Parliament was impossible. I've been advocating for Parliament to do this in the night, and I was excited that the budget was being read on prime time, but getting out of Parliament into the studio was completely impossible. One of my guests, the Reverend Intim Fojo, is still not here. I'm guessing that he's in the contention. If I have to tell you my story, maybe I shouldn't, but what I needed to do was I've left my car there, still in Parliament, so I needed to walk and get somebody to pick me and and we arrived. So I sincerely apologize. I really beg for keeping you that long. It was about budgets being read in the night. Okay, tonight we have quite a bit. Those of you who saw our flyer, you know that I have a big editorial on the military story. What is the military story? What occurred at the El-Wak Stadium yesterday is terrible, and it's devastating. You know that my favorite people in the world are soldiers, number one, news reporters number 2, politicians number 3, and if I have to add another one, maybe footballers. But soldiers are really my first love. So I saw what happened, and I have a story to tell about that. Okatachi Afrifa is in America. I've been chatting with him. He's doing very well. Okatachi tells me that he is coming very soon, but he was at an event where they were discussing Trump and America and all of that. He was part of a panel, and he sent me the video. I looked at it. It's very, very good. We're going to be uploading the video on our social media page so you can see it. But you know that Okatachi Afrifa, who has been doing a very powerful podcast, has to truncate it and go to America. He's setting up in America to start again, and we'll be hearing a whole lot from him when the time comes. So that's Okatachi on your screen over there, speaking at a conference where they were discussing Donald Trump's situation with Ghana and with West Africa and Nigeria and all of that, and he had quite a bit to say. He assures me that he might be in town during the Christmas holidays, but he's currently pursuing his master's in international law and all of that, and he's learning hard so that he'll be able to hit harder when it comes. So that's Okatachi Afrifa. I'd like also to congratulate Manasseh Azuri Awuni this evening for what he did on SML, even though we know that SML are suing, they are giving a different opinion. But I have a request for Manasseh. When are you going to do something on a company that's not Ghanaian? FO, when are you going to do something that's not Ghanaian? You see, this thing, and maybe today we won't say much about it, but every time Manasseh does something, it's about a Ghanaian company. Recently, I hear that they are talking about KGL as well. Another, they move from SML, then they are going to KGL. Every day, they have something to say about a Ghanaian company. You look at what happened at the Elwak Stadium yesterday. Look at what happened. And look at what they wanted to do to Zoomlion in 2014. And look at the numbers of people that Zoomlion employs. All the people that Zoomlion employs would have been there as well. The people that are in Zoomlion, if we had shut down Zoomlion in 2014, where today Zoomlion is in about 28 to 30 African countries, in major African countries, at least in Nigeria, Zoomlion is controlling Lagos sanitation. Zoomlion is in Kenya, is controlling Kenya sanitation. Zoomlion is in Ethiopia. If you have been watching Wademaya's expose on Ethiopia, you will see how big Ethiopia is. How, not the size of Ethiopia, but how advanced they have become in terms of their skyscrapers and all that. That government decided to give Zoomlion a contract to do sanitation. Zoomlion is in Angola. President Akufo-Addo was recently in Angola. Zoomlion is in Benin. All of this happened after 2014 when Manasseh Azuri wanted us to believe that Zoomlion is a criminal organization and it should be closed down. So we congratulate him for his work. Investigative journalist is very important. You can't take it out of our situation. But this over-focusing on Ghanaian companies that they are thieves, and every time he says something, SML comes to rebut. Every time he says something, Zoomlion comes to rebut. When I saw the KGL, and I was terribly disappointed. But here they go again, every time. A Ghanaian company is rising and Ghanaian investigative work is intended to shut it down. Look at what Manasseh tried to do with Lighthouse. Look at what Lighthouse has done in the charismatic mission. Look at Lighthouse. Look at the enterprise that Bishop Dag Heward-Mills had built. Bishop Dag is the most traveled evangelist around Africa of all time. Bishop Dag invested in a system to travel around Africa and share the gospel of Jesus Christ with people. Suddenly, Manasseh rises up, oh, Lighthouse must come down. Darkness in the lighthouse. The matter went to court, etc., etc. I don't want to say the rest. But my only admonition tonight is that whilst we do investigative journalism, please, let us focus, let us build Ghanaian companies. There are Indian companies, Lebanese companies, Italian companies. They've been working in Ghana for years. They are all not perhaps doing what they should do. We don't know. But in 2014 or 2015, there was a foreign company here that almost collapsed the banks through a cocoa board deal. We know who they are. We didn't go and say anything because Ghanaians work there. So the matter was dealt with quietly. I'm not saying leave them to do what they have to do. No. There are some investigative pieces that don't get out. If you ask Anas Aremia, he'll tell you. Anas does a lot of it that doesn't get out. Some of it he hands over to the president. Mr. President, look at what your people are doing. And then some of it is dealt out quietly. The taxpayer receives his tax that has been cheated of him. The revenue authority received their revenue. Nobody hears about it. Nobody hears about it so that the image of the company is coming down. They are killing the company. It doesn't work. We should stop that. We should certainly stop that. Yes, investigative journalism is very, very important. And Manasseh is doing a good job. But I'm asking him, Minua Azuri, when are you going to do work that is not about a Ghanaian company that's successful? And when I say Ghanaian company that's successful, I mean a Ghanaian company that has employed people, that has attained status, that has paid over 100 million to Ghana Revenue Authority. When are you going to do that? When are you going to do something that is not about a Ghanaian company? The Nigerians are laughing at us. Look at Benin. Go to Benin and go and see what is happening in Benin. They are moving on because they have a president who is focused on business. He's a businessman and he's telling people. This evening I was having a chat with somebody who was telling me that the people that were going to LWAC to go and look for this military job, if, and many news portals have said that it's about employment, it's not so much for their love for the military. Many people have said that. If they were going to be paid 4,000 cedis a month, and look at their numbers, 21,000. If you take that money and give it to 3 businesses, pharmaceuticals, come, we'll give you this money. How many people can you employ? You, sanitation, come, we'll give you this money. How many people can you employ? You, agriculture, agribusiness, come, we'll give you this money. How many people can you employ? Do you think we would have had that? It is only Ghanaians that can grow the Ghanaian enterprise. We should stop that business. Manasseh, please, stop it. You are a good investigative journalist. Stop this focusing on, and do you know how they do it? Somebody comes to tell them that this person is a thief. Somebody comes to tell them that, and then if we didn't stand up for Zoom Lion, if Zoom Lion didn't pray to God and obtain mercy, by now Manasseh would have collapsed Zoom Lion. Look, go and look at what's happening at Zoom Lion. Go and look. Look at how many people. At each time, each point, Zoom Lion has nearly 100 people in China, paid for by the company, learning. If Ghanaians today, if there's any percentage of Ghanaians who can speak Mandarin, it's because of Zoom Lion. Zoom Lion's company, when you go there, sometimes you think you are in China. They are doing Chinwa. They are just talking. They are Ghanaians, so they are talking like that because they just come from China. And all of them are speaking Mandarin. Beautiful language. So why do we encourage these things? We'll have more time to talk. I'm being signaled that a lot of time is already gone. We'll have more time. Let's talk to Alex Jumfo. Hey, my man. Charlie, you the man, you know, you the man. This is the GJA president. I've supported him to the hilt. Talk about Manasseh. Manasseh says that he has left the GJA. I don't know why. But Manasseh, this is not a time to leave the GJA. The GJA is looking beautiful. The GJA is looking grand. When I saw the awards night, I said, wow, this is the stature of the Ghana Journalists Association that we have been looking for. What about Ghana News Reporters Association? Do we have one? Maybe we should set up one. Ghana News Reporters Association. We'll set up one. But President Jumfo, you've done an amazing job. He has lifted the GJA, which was already doing well, and has lifted it to the pedestal, where now the Asante Hene is hosting the Journalists Association Awards night event and awards dinner, all at Menchia Palace. It doesn't get bigger than that. It doesn't get bigger than that. The Asante Hene hosted the event. The president attended the event. The Chief Justice, Acting Chief Justice attended the event, and the journalists were giving the awards. And I mean, it was just beautiful. It was so nice, and it was so good to feel that the Inky fraternity is now getting the attention of the most important people in the society. Look at the photograph behind me. This is the Venerable Asante Hene, President John Dramani Mahama, Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni, and the biggest headline sponsor, Alex Dade of KGL, was also there. Alex Dade took up the bill for everything. KGL was convinced that he needed to do this for the Ghana Journalists Association. And Alex Dade was there. Here is the President Mahama and the Asante here tete-a-tete during the event. Alex Jumfo has done something spectacular. Oh, Apia Stadium and somewhere. It was all glory at the Ghana Journalists Association event. I mean, that was really good. Very, very good. Manasseh, come back to the GJA because we are looking good. By the way, I called Jumfo the other day. I have to confess. I called Jumfo the other day. I said, Jumfo, find some role for me in the awards. Find some role. But I'm a former award winner. He said, oh, but Paul, you're a multiple award winner. I said, yeah, so find a role for me. He said, don't worry. Call me back. I said, hey, Ojam. I said, what has happened? He said, but when was the last time you paid your dues? I said, I haven't paid. He said, you haven't paid, Charlie, you haven't paid. So you let me calculate for you, come and pay, or so that next year I can find a role for you. So next year I'll be in it too. Next year, I'm in the GJ, whether I don't know whether the awards committee somewhere, I'll be an usher for the final event. Next year, oh, Shamima Muslim, my sister, she was there. Oh, Shamima, how are you doing? I know the pressure is on there. Don't worry, to be fine. Shamima is my sister, you know. So, yes, so yes. Is that Joyce Bauer giving an award? Hey, Joycey, I've not seen her in a long time. Okay, that's Joyce Bauer giving an award. So, yes, the GJ, our boss, Felix Kwachofosu was also there. I like his apparel, beautiful. I like it. It looks good. If you get a photograph of Alex that day, hey, latest lawyer in town, Esquire was also there. So the GJ Awards, is that the IGP? COP Teteyo, the Inspector General of Police. Yes, indeed, he was there too. I mean, this is the first time I've seen the GJ Awards bring together that kind of, caliber of people. I think June 4 is doing well. June 4 is doing very, very well. And whilst I commend June 4, I have to remember the company called Tobinco that has been a powerful backbone for this June 4 GJ. That's Alex Dade of KGL, who was the headline sponsor of the event. That's June 4, the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, the Asante Hene Otumfo Osetutu, the second president, John Dramani Mahama, Nathaniel Atto, the MC, and Sewa Ami here, the other MC. This is Joyce Bauer as well. I like the CJ's blue suits, isn't it? Paul Bafoboni, who we understand might be sworn in tomorrow. So congratulations to June 4 and that. Now, I'm going to come to an issue. There's a controversy that we're resolving tonight. Kwesi Kwarteng, who speaks for Kennedy Japan, is in the studio. And Kwesi Kwarteng is worried that something Kennedy Japan said is being twisted. He's here to sort of correct the impression. I don't know whether Team Fojo can make it, because the traffic that I saw when I was leaving Parliament, I'm not so sure. If he's not able to make it, we'll do it another time. But now I need to go back to the table and speak to Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, who is here to tell us about the senior Aliyu Mahama's 13th, is it?
Yes, sir.
13th anniversary of his unfortunate passing. A stalwart of our democracy and a stalwart of the New Patriotic Party. Many stories about Aliyu Mahama have been told, and I knew him personally, of course. Those days, Farouk was in KNUST, and one time I went to Atlanta, they said Farouk was there. I wasn't able to see him. Farouk.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, Mr. Paul.
What's happening? Are you running for Yendi again? I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Losing under 1%.
Oh, it was under 1%?
Yes.
Were you cheated?
I wasn't cheated, but a lot of factors played out. And if I lost under 1%, obviously it tells you that there's a greater chance and a greater opportunity. If,
absolutely.
If there's health and long life, inshallah. The good people of Yendi know what I did, and obviously they would call me back to serve them than what I did in my first 4 years.
What is happening with Alhaji's 13th anniversary? How are we celebrating it?
Yes, the family has always been doing the celebrations from the 1st to the 13th, and I believe that we came together as a responsible family and responsible children and the whole family, thought it wise that it's important we find a day as such to eulogize him and to let a few generations of ours who never knew who Aliyu Mahama was.
That's very important.
And his contribution to the country and to the New Patriotic Party at large. And with the support of President Kufuor, broke the jinx after 30 years of trying to come to power. It's important that as children, we should try and celebrate him. And Paul, that is why we've started doing this celebration. Obviously, we're just praying for Sunday to come, and inshallah, we've invited a lot of people. And we are experiencing all political divide, his friends from Nigeria, former governors and current governors in Nigeria, and a lot of people across the country to come in. And what is important is the prayers. And in the Holy Quran, when you lose a father, a responsible son is the one who prays for his father. And that's the best gift we can give to him. And we have been actually supported by His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and he's coming, I think he's finishing his campaign on Friday. And he should be able to join. Not only him.
Are we doing it in Accra?
Yes, at Cantonment, where I reside.
Where?
Where my dad used to reside. I'm living there.
In
now.
Dansoman?
No, Cantonment.
Cantonment, yes, At the Switchback Road, yes. In his house, Alaji's house?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you live there now?
Yes, I live there.
You have properly inherited him?
Yes.
Except Yendi, where you are the first. He didn't do Yendi.
Yes.
Okay, so we are doing it in the house. So
Yes.
how form is it going to take?
Obviously, it's going to start in the morning by 9. The dignitaries will arrive, and we are expecting some dignitaries from Nigeria and in Mali and other people to arrive on Saturday. And we've met with the chief imam and the planning committee, and we should be able to start by 9, and the chief imam would arrive, and the prayers will go on, and whilst we still receive invited guests. And obviously, it's going to be a whole day program. We've invited both the NDC, the MPP MPs, chiefs, Zongo, Council of Zongo chiefs, and a lot of people across the country who come in and pay. You know, Alhaji Aliyu Mahama was a man of peace, even though he was a New Patriotic Party stalwart, but he represented Ghana, and he had both friends from the political divide. And I believe that it's just going to be a day for us to meet as old friends, to catch up and to do the needful, and that is the prayers that we need to pray for our Father, yes.
Excellent. You have a book?
Yes, it's a book that we're going to launch next year.
Next year?
Yes,
okay.
and that is the Aliyu Mahama book, and we've launched it. We're going to be launching it next year. Yes.
A life of service. A life of service beyond self. A life of service beyond self is a groundbreaking biography that chronicles the remarkable life and legacy of Ghana's first Muslim Vice President, His Excellency Aliyu Mahama, 1943 to 2017. Through a meticulous exploration of Mahama's ancestry, education, and career, this book masterfully weaves a tapestry of statesmen who embodied the essence of public service, discipline, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy. The book offers a unique perspective on Ghana's political landscape and the country's democratic journey. It provides a comprehensive and nuanced exploration of the office of the Vice President, shedding light on its evolution, responsibilities, and constitutional basis. This book celebrates the late Ghanaian leader's enduring legacy, offering a powerful testament to an individual's transformative influence. It elucidates Aliyu Mahama's place in the pantheon of democratic heroes of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, cementing his place in history. Discover the inspiring story of a leader who harnessed the power of unity and discipline to drive national progress. This book is a powerful tribute to one person's transformative influence and a poignant reminder that we all possess the potential to make a positive impact. May Aliyu Mahama's lasting legacy inspire us all to enrich the world. Dr. Lawrence Tete, the president of the Worldwide Miracle Outreach, wrote everything that I'm saying. This is a must-read for anyone interested in political leadership, African studies, and the transformative power of self-service. Really, really beautiful. And there are photographs that will remind all of us of everything that happened. Farouk, this is a very good book. I hope I can keep this copy.
We'll get you a copy, Mr. Paul.
Okay. There's a chapter 3 is Aliyu Mahama, Family, Education, and Career. And quite a few. Did you find opportunity to mention Real Tamale United?
Of course, he was. Fortunately, in those days, President Kufuor was the executive member of Kotoko, and Alhaji Aliyu Mahama was the executive member of RTU. I think that's how come they started as friends before he nominated him to be his running mate.
Excellent.
And all that. Yes, it was a long history.
Okay, so send us some photographs from Sunday.
Yes.
I'll be there.
Yes.
And we can show it on TV.
Yes.
On Tuesday. What would you like to leave us with?
I want to say that the late Vice President played a significant role in Ghana's development and for the New Patriotic Party. And as a stakeholder in the New Patriotic Party, as a former member of Parliament, I know we are gearing towards the 2025 January elections. There's a whole lot of competition around. And I believe that as an interested party and as a former member of Parliament, I believe that MPP is a great party with a great tradition. And we believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is somebody that has that experience, humility, and also well-positioned and well-marketed, if you look at the history of this party from President Kufuor's time and Nana Addo Dankwa's attempts. And I believe a one-term attempt by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should not be the yardstick for a renewal of a leadership for our party. And I believe Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is well placed in terms of humility. I don't look at tribal because MPP is a party that chooses competent people. They don't really look at your background, because if you look at Dr. Bawumia's caliber, this essence of leadership is to bring innovation and the competence level, and then overall what he has done as vice president. And I believe that as going forward in January, we are all busy campaigning. It's our prayer that our party would rally behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead us into victory in 2028 elections. And I want to say that, use this opportunity to say all delegates across the country, if you look at how the MPP has been structured, it's always given opportunity to everybody irrespective of where you come from. And I believe Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be seen as somebody who is competent enough to lead Ghana based on his track record, who should be somebody who should be leading the party based on the marketability and the consistent loyalty to the party, and not where he comes from or what he possesses in terms of his religion. So I'm appealing to all to look at Bawumia with his track record vis-a-vis when he was not vice president, till he became vice president, and the promotion of his image and consistent loyalty to the party should be able to give him the
So you believe that Dr. Bawumia will be elected?
Yes, I believe that. Yes, I believe that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Aliu Mahama. What we do, we go to text messages and then we can continue. Okay. Hold it, Farouk. Let me take some preliminary text messages from Fatih and Anziba. So shall I do some Fatih first, please? Okay, Fatih, what are people saying so far?
All right. Thank you, Paul. So this is coming from Shadrach, and he says, wow, this is my first time listening to the late President Aliu Mahama, Vice President Aliu Mahama. Great man, great speech. Coming from Al-Hassan, he says, Aliu Mahama's legacy lives on. General Akbar Tamila says, greetings to you, my brother Aliu Mahama. We are very proud of you. Keep it up. We are strongly believing that you are coming back in 2028 as an MP for Yendi, no doubt about what we believe in you. Coming from Husseini Bawa Zakaria, he says, we continue to mourn the passing of Alhaji Aliu Mahama, a former Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, a humble servant leader whose compassion and steady support helped build a brighter future for we, the youth. He led with quiet dignity, investing in communities, in the youth from his hometown Yendi and the nation as a whole, infrastructure and opportunity, always mindful of the needs of the most vulnerable in our society. His integrity, warmth, and commitment to unity inspired trust across generations. As we grieve, we honor his legacy, fortunate to have his children continuing the work he began, lifting others, strengthening our communities, and putting Ghana's future first. May Mahama's family find comfort and may be pleased with his soul in Al-Jannatul Firdaus.
Thank you very much, Fatih. We have just a few more messages left. Coming from Francis Elinam, he says, His Excellency Aliu was humble. Coming from Chris Brown, he says, good evening, Dr. Farouk. Aliu Mahama, from all the way from Yendi, Balugu South. Coming from Dash Thinker, he says, what Manasseh Azuri Awuni and his cohorts can do to help Ghanaian companies is to rather expose the corrupt officials doing dubious work at those companies seeking to destroy the businesses. And lastly, coming from Idrisu M. Bashiru Hassan, he says, thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for the Alhaji Aliu Mahama video. I can't believe his name was on our lips, yet I can't recall hearing or seeing him ever deliver a speech until I watched the video on your show. May Allah forgive all his sins and grant him Jannah. Okay, that'll be it. I think Fatih has a few more messages.
Yeah. So from Bennett Danso, she says, Manasseh and his fourth estate are like the principalities, the wicked spirits in high places and rulers of the dark world. The Bible talked about in the Apostle Paul's letter to the Ephesians. All they do is write journalism. Yafrebi says, since the NDC have succeeded in using the judiciary for executing their plan to remove the Chief Justice as communicated in opposition, they are very certain that all the cases filed by former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo will be dismissed by the court, supervised by Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafobone. So they have decided not to hear the objection raised by the minority leaders of Parliament that if Ghanaians or ECOWAS courts rule in favor of former Chief Justice, the Constitution does not give the procedures to follow and ratify the reinstatement. Lastly, coming from General Akbar from Tamale, he says, prosperity will judge us all in the coming years. The God of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia will speak. Now back to you, Paul.
Yes, back to the show. Thank you very much, Fatih and Anziba. Before I get to the touch screen to do the big editorial on the military situation, which we all saw yesterday, which was very bad. I have a real editorial about it with quite a bit of information. I'm trying to understand the root cause of the problem, and that's where I'm going. Kwesi Kwarteng has joined me in the studio. Kwesi Kwarteng is a lawyer, and he speaks for Kennedy Ohene Japan. Kwesi, good evening and welcome to the show again.
Good evening, Paul.
The reason why you are here is that Kennedy Japan, the candidate, is accused of delving into tribal politics. There's a video where he talks about he being something about Akan people, something like that. What happened?
I mean, contrary to it, he has been a victim of this tribal politics. Unfortunately, there are some other people who benefit from it. It just so happens that after benefiting from it, they play the Wall Street game, play the victim role, and Ken, of course, appears to be like, I mean, somebody who is propagating it. Just like what we see. I mean, if you go to America, for instance, there are some genuine instances where somebody may have committed a wrong thing, but they hide under the umbrella of racism and want to justify it. So Ken is rather suffering and has been a victim of the political abuses, whilst unfortunately, and to the contrary, we have other candidates who are enjoying from same. But these are the facts. The facts are that just yesterday, when he met some delegates in the Eastern region, he reinforced and reiterated and, of course, raised a concern. And that concern, Paul, had to do with the unprecedented levels of tribal intimidation that is happening in certain parts of the North. It is important for me to state clearly that Ken is not divisive, Ken is not discriminatory. Interesting.
What did he say? What did he say in the video that created this problem?
Yeah, his point was the fact that he needed to raise these concerns, which had to do with the fact that if you go to certain parts of the North, his supporters are constantly being intimidated.
Currently?
Yes, there are situations where they have to get chiefs to compel delegates to pledge to vote in a certain direction. Recently, if you recall, when he went to the North, remember there were some delegates who voluntarily came to him and revealed information about how they voted for him, which unfortunately they recorded 0 for him. I mean, he raised this concept, but interestingly, some of these are people who came forth are getting threat of being banished, and some of them also threat of harm. So he just had to lay those concerns out, and of course, I mean, had to emphasize that if that is happening in other parts of the country, if we don't condemn it, it may also embolden other parts of the country, for instance, parts of the South to also do the same. And I think, unfortunately, some of the media reportage misrepresented it. I don't want to repeat the name of the media house on your platform, but they misrepresented it and presented a certain outlook that suggests that Ken is asking all Akans to vote against minority group. I mean, there is no way he would do that.
What's the minority rule?
Minority group.
Minority group,
yeah. Minority, the groupings, I mean, the other ethnic groups. And we believe in the honest, fair, and of course, inclusive policies. But what we also resist vehemently is any attempt to also blackmail us on any religious or tribal lines. Because the record has is clear, and the history is also there, that there have been candidates, they moved to their home regions, engage in all manner of tribal and identity politics. I personally do not believe there is anything wrong with identity or, let's say, home advantage. I don't believe there is anything wrong with that.
But I'm from here, so
yeah, vote from here. But when you propagate that and then play the ostrich game and then appear victim when you move to the other your opponent's home region. That is where I feel it marks some form of hypocrisy and ought to be condemned. So, Paul, the emphasis has to be made on your show that Ken is not divisive. His recent company, the rubber company, employs 360 people. Interestingly, 300 of them are all from the northern part of the country.
The rubber company in the northern region?
No, it's in Greater Accra here, Tema. It's in Tema here. But interestingly, it employs about 300 Northerners out of the 360 people that currently works there. So the point have to be made very strongly, refuting the claims and those reports that were misleading and deliberately misrepresented to create an impression as though Ken does not like Northerners. And interestingly, this thing only resurfaces anytime you are going to have election, where it's almost being used as a tool, being weaponized also by some politicians to create an impression that other group, other tribal group do not like the other. We dissociate ourselves from such campaign. But of course, like I indicated, we will also not allow anyone to blackmail us into silence when it comes to religious lines. If chiefs are being compelled to call delegates, to ask them or force them to vote in a certain direction, and also there are also delegates that has been threatened against harm, and of course there are also threat of banishment, all on the basis that they support Ken. I'm not sure if you're a leader, you just leave it hanging. Obviously, you condemn him and also ask for inclusivity and, of course, some political truth.
How is the campaign going, though? Where is Ken these days?
Campaign is so well. Ken, as of now, is on his 11th region, which happens to be the Eastern region. Just yesterday in the evening, he took a break, has to embark on some few personal rounds, and hopefully in the next 2 days he will also proceed. But of course, our message is really going on well. Our message has been simple. In 3 phases, I would say it's premised on jobs, 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 yes. And that's what he's preaching. Especially, you recall, Paul, yesterday, the unfortunate incident that happened where young people had to lose their lives in their search of jobs. Of course, Ken is not promising to come and solve every problem in the country. But within the first 4 years that any person will have as a president, with the right environment, empowering the private sector, and of course, taking those bold initiatives and bold decisions, I am very confident that we'll be able to reduce unemployment and create decent jobs for our people. Not only decent jobs, but also even those who are working, who are underpaid. The Ken's principle is that when the economy boosts, which of course there are a lot of job creation, people's salary also going to be affected, and people are also going to live the decent life, so that the American dream that people are living in America, the UK dream that people are living, we can also live the Ghanaian dream.
Which is the Ghanaian dream, which is that you will have a job.
You have a decent life.
Decent
exactly,
job.
Decent life, of course. Decent life will mean that you at least have a means of livelihood. So that, Paul, if you want to rent a beautiful place, you should be able to. If you want to change your car, or if you want to have access to car, especially after working for a reasonable period of time, say 5 years, 6 years, this should be basic. And it's also basic in other jurisdictions, other countries. There is a global trend, and especially when it comes to our jurisdiction, it's on the rise, where a lot of young graduates have to pretend as though they want to pursue further studies. Most of them, recently I was in Canada, most of the students that go to Canada and other jurisdictions, most of them do not even go to school. They just end up driving Uber and engaging in other menial jobs, all because in their home country, they are unable to live very decent life and the Ghanaian dream. So Ken is of the view that when you name unemployment to the barest minimum, at least the decency that is associated with the human life and, of course, the dignity that we all deserve, we should be able to get it as God's children.
That's interesting. There's a narrative that this MPP race may be too tight. Is it true?
I beg to differ. Of course, I respect those views. For me, especially from where I'm coming from, is a feedback to us to ensure that we really work hard. But from how the grounds are and how the delegates are receiving our message, you realize that the delegates is about 1.16% of the entire general voter population, which is about 18 million, because the delegates is about 218,000. If you do the mathematics, you realize about 1.16%. So at the end of the day, the delegates also are listening to what the majority of Ghanaians are calling for. If you sit in Trotros, people are calling for Ken. If you enter the malls, Ken. They say it in a very simple language, especially in the markets. More they can buy a better. So I have the impression, I have the conviction that this message is really sinking to the delegates. That yes, all the other candidates are capable. They are all, very great and nice gentlemen. But within the exigency of the moment, the timing, people are saying that more they can buy a better. And for me, that gives him the added advantage, that credibility, that trust. It's not only about marketability, but it's also an aggregation of marketability and visibility. You know, marketability may just be, marketability will have to be acceptability, and visibility will have to be presence. In the case of Ken, maybe unlike all other candidates, Ken is both marketable and visible. And for me, it gives him an advantage, that presence of visibility. And of course, that aspect where a lot of Ghanaians trust him, they place value on him, that Ken is honest, Ken is bold, Ken is patriotic, Ken is somebody who will not tolerate A, B, C, D. Especially at a time like where we believe that most of our challenges has always been issues of discipline. We need that leader who can make strong decisions. I believe strongly that Ken has another advantage. I don't see it as a tight race. I see one of Ken is going to win. I'm looking at between 62 to 64%.
Oh wow, that's interesting. You think Ken is going to win?
Yes.
Straight away?
Yeah, all things being equal, between 62 to 64%. Because currently, Paul, the Brian Champon factor has also changed a lot of the dynamics.
Yeah.
Where, of course, I wouldn't pretend that he's also not maybe snatching some of Ken's supporters, but out of every 10 people that goes to Brian Champo's camp, chances are that 9 of them are from the Dr. Bawumia's camp. So he's really changed the dynamics, coupled with the fact that delegates believe that we need to present somebody who Ghanaians want and are ready to vote for. It gives him some added advantage. So I'm very confident that Ken will emerge victorious.
Okay, let me see whether I have some text messages for you on this one. Fatih, first, just maybe 2 of it. Also, what are people asking?
So from Raymond says, I admire Kwesi Kwarteng's excellent managerial skills. He has a difficult task managing Ken, but thanks to KK reconciliation, will be smooth after the election. I wish he was part of Dr. Bawumia's winning team. Manuel Darko says Ken is a national threat and security agency must take it seriously. Whenever he gets the opportunity, he likes to play the tribal cards, justifying it by saying that others are doing it in the north, yet there is no video or audio to justify. He should tell us which chief exactly is calling people to threaten them and who in the north is exactly engaging in tribal politics. Coming from Gumzoya, it says, Paul, can you please play the video to shame this guy to deter others from following same way? Honorable Ken said it in the video. And lastly, coming from Haj Kabar, it says, Ken have seen defeat staring at him, hence he started to do some tribal politics. He came to Upper East and met a section of delegates and went back. We, those remaining, are waiting for him to do whatever he wants to do. Anzaba.
Okay, thank you very much, Fatih. Coming from Rio Maxby, he says, Kennedy Ejapon is on video to have threatened the central region in the last NPP presidential primaries, that if they have failed to vote for him, he will teach them a lesson. And lastly, from Dash Thinkon, he says, you people are not helping Anodi Kennedy Ejapon, You are standing at the back park and throwing stones onto the pitch, which is hurting your own leader. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much, Kwesi Kwarteng. Thank you for passing. So what will be your last word on the show?
Yeah, our last word is that ultimately we need power. So in a very respectful and humble way, we'll continue to appeal to the delegates. They are the kingmakers. That they should also listen to the concern of many Ghanaians and give Kennedy Ejapon the opportunity. We are very confident that when Ken is presented in 2028, he presents a very strong candidate and, of course, a very strong force that we are confident that he will win as power in 2028.
How's your boss, Osaya Waduchum, doing?
He's fine. He's fine. It's been long. I heard from him personally. Because of the campaign, he's busy from his end. And also with Ken's campaign, I'm also busy from that end. But I mean, there are some times that I take a peep of his campaign. Recently, I think he gave a jam to Dr. Bawumia. I followed on the back and forth. So yeah, I've been following. He's doing well.
Okay. I'm sure there'll be occasion enough for us to discuss on this program with the spokespersons of the various candidates, who's going to win, who's not going to win, and all of that. Okay, good evening to you, Guy G, who put this interview together. We'll take a short break, isn't it? Can I do that? Yes, take a short break. When we come back, we're on the touch screen for the soldier story. You can't miss that one. This is Good Evening Ghana, it's live.
So we just display armor cars on an Independence Day and we go and park the armor cars at the barracks. Why don't you move those tankers to the Galamsey site and fire?
Yeah, this is my secret. Give us P capsules. Hema wa ho din confirm na want to me to my din one pem. Give us P capsules. Obedu ase mama. Ono eneme lawyer.
Ah, anti wo lawyer no na she obotom. Are you bro? Me dey na pon me sin ba be tia mo a ese ni die.
Busano.
No. We dey nefi waka wo. E friend give us cold capsules. Say yes is yare na wo so. Ko di wu ni pedwem wani na wo posa amaman entimi ma wunja wo nan yi. Wonum give us cold capsules a. Wo be ye free.
Lawyer.
Give us cold capsules.
And I give us P capsules.
Hey, and they give us free.
Capsules.
And men what if you do what you do cronkwan ever. Give us core capsules. A painful about one more menu for an quadra if you do me nunca.
Wabe dum time aso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Mekwaya ma besisia. Abozege. Akache say no ya konate and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabi o, baby wom. Ready? Hey, baby wom.
Uncle.
Eji, I'll cause some discomfort.
Uncle, Amanda.
Sorry, what uncle? Where would the dad? Why your funeral? At phone for Aerofield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
Na mum she na ndadanya waso mosquito coil esudi wo munumu. Na say spray wo dan mu so a. Twan sima adronum ansa na akodan no mu.
Enkratoi FDA agiatum.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo kendini, ehu be here, semetra sapapadia to amame manfo. Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, eno bombe se ho ban, e mane swen, ne sanso mama hotoso e wo bedwam.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late, of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go feel the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go feel be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky. Everybody go be that luckiest.
God Kwame!
Send your God up boom. If you put it so would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, mommy, simple direction. Mr. Goodluck no check me well.
Yeah,
man.
Easy car. Or dial star 712 hash. The devil is a liar. He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his birthday.
Oh, how romantic.
And he followed the prompt. Yes. And then boom. Confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family payment seminar? Before December, may release a motivational album. Fatapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Okay, Reverend Team for Joy is here, so we are ready for the story. But just suffice it to bring this out. Short one, Chief Justice, or is it former Chief Justice? Okay, former Justice Tokonu, Speaker Bagbin, and then Justice Paul Bafuboni, who we understand might be sworn in tomorrow as the next Chief Justice. But there's a problem, isn't there? There's a real problem here in Ghana when we come to talk about Chief Justice. Speaker Bagbin may have been right when he confronted the minorities' proposition that the vetting of Mr. Justice Paul Bafuboni should be put on hold until such time that the matters, maybe he should have added Afenyo Markin's photograph, until such time that the matters being discussed in the court, and there are about 5 matters in there. There are 4 matters before the Supreme Court asking for interpretation of this and that. There are 2 matters before the High Court that makes it 6. Then there's one at the ECOWAS court. Okay. Some people may say it's much ado about nothing and that the woman should stop. And I've seen people like the Honorable Atta Kennedy advise Tokonu and say it's okay, go. I don't think Tokonu is doing this for herself. She's doing this to set things straight for the future because we're building a democracy. J.H. Mensah went to court in the famous case of the J.H. Mensah and the Attorney General, not for himself, but to demonstrate that when a president has finished his term and he is fortunate to win another term, the ministers that were with him in his first term cannot be said to continue to hold office in the second term. That's why J.H. Mensah took out a writ and went to the Supreme Court in 1997. It wasn't about himself. Today, J.H. Mensah is dead. But we will keep referring to the case of J.H. Mensah and the Attorney General to guide us in the way in which we build our democracy. So those who are accusing Tokonu that this and that, no, that's not what she's doing. She's trying to tell us that something significant has happened that has turned the head of the law upside down. That's what Justice Tokonu is saying. She's not saying that I think the judiciary is for me, so I'm coming, the judiciary is for me. No, she's not saying the judiciary is for her. She's saying that something significant has happened that has upside down turned our judiciary. And if we don't check it, it will come to haunt all of us. Viewers, these are very important matters. The people who promulgated the law on causing financial loss to the state in 1999, they were told that this obnoxious law and this, difficult to define law that you are bringing to Parliament to pass because you are looking for J. Kufuor and Osafo Maafo, because you want to catch J. Kufuor for his involvement in the bank matters in Bank for Housing and Construction, and you want to catch Osafo Maafo, who was managing director of the bank. Be careful. Those people who prosecuted the law, they went to jail on causing financial loss to the state. So that is how we run a democracy. Let us always be careful to think that it may be on this foot today, but it can always shift onto the other foot tomorrow. You saw what the minority were saying in Parliament yesterday. A document came to Parliament yesterday for the approval of a lithium agreement. And Alexander Markin, the chairman, the leader of the minority, was telling the majority that this is the same law, the same agreement that we brought to you. And the NDC said they wouldn't do it. Today, the NDC have brought the same law to Parliament. Now, Ghana is getting less money. The lithium agreement that the MPP brought to Parliament, Ghana was getting more money. The same lithium agreement has come to Parliament yesterday. Ghana is getting less money. We were in this, I was going to say Parliament because I was there this evening. We were in this Ghana when Akufo-Addo's government brought something to Parliament asking for a tax rebate of 24 million for Dr. Nyantechi to go and build some infrastructure under one district, one factory. NDC said never, they will not agree. How can you say that somebody shouldn't pay tax because it's a Ghanaian business? This evening, less than 2 hours ago, Keselato Forsen has brought something to Parliament that a business entity be allowed not to pay $10 million to the Ghanaian people. Yesterday, 5 Ghanaians died wanting to be soldiers. 6 Ghanaians died wanting to be soldiers. We are giving somebody who should have paid $10 million to Ghana government's Ghana Revenue Authority and the national checks, the national exchequer. We said that he shouldn't pay that money again anymore. He should take that money away. Is that how we do? That is why Justice Tokonu is saying that. Let us be careful and look at these things properly. There's one of the Justice Tokonu cases, for instance. There is Article 146, and it runs from, I think, 1461 to 1466. Article 146 is the impeachment of the Chief Justice and Supreme Court Justice. Article 146 is clear. It gives you a way to impeach or remove the Chief Justice. Then it prescribes an entirely different way to remove a Supreme Court judge. Justice Tokonu says that you took me through Article 1466. That's 146 clause 6. That is a prescription and a direction for the removal of Chief Justice. I am a Supreme Court judge before I become a Chief Justice. Chief Justice is by appointment. Supreme Court judge is my level of justice work. You have removed me by Article 1466. Therefore, you have only removed me as Chief Justice. You cannot purport to use Article 1466 to remove me as a Supreme Court judge, because the removal of a Supreme Court judge is clearly prescribed and defined in Article 1463. That matter is lying before the Supreme Court. Hear it, Supreme Court hasn't heard it. Maybe they will hear it. I'm sure they will hear it, but we don't know when. These are the things that Alex Markin was saying, that can we resolve these matters in the interest of clarity of the law and the application thereof before we come to appoint a new Chief Justice? That's all that Alex Markin was asking for. Can we hear these matters? These are matters that are germane. They are fundamental to the operation of our law under a constitution approved by the people of Ghana in April 1992 by a referendum. And that we need, as of necessity, to hear these matters. Speaker Bagbin is right. He says, well, Parliament has a job to do. We have to vet the nominee of the president. By vetting him, we have not appointed him as Chief Justice. So we will proceed with the vetting. I agree with that. I think many people agree with that. But now, Parliament has finished his work. His Excellency, the President, now has the duty to appoint a new Chief Justice. Should John Dramani Mahama proceed to appoint a new Chief Justice without these matters having been ventilated by the highest court of the land? Should he? Well, If we chant the answer in political tones, then everybody under the umbrella will say, yes, he should. And other people will say, no, he shouldn't. But should it be the umbrella or the elephant that controls our democratic existence? No, it should be the law, the 1992 Constitution. That's what governs our democratic existence. So the point I'm bringing to you, just a short one, I'm done, is that let's not perceive Justice Tokonu's pursuit of these matters as claiming to own the judicial chair of the Chief Justice, that when she was giving birth to, it was for her. Or that when she finished Faculty of Law, she was told that you own the Chief Justice chair and you can take it home. No, that's not what she's saying. She finds herself in a situation that she needs to do service to the people of Ghana by going to the court to ask them these questions for tomorrow. The minority leader of the day, Joseph Henry Mensah, was in Parliament one day when a list came from the Speaker that this is a list of the ministers that the President wants to continue with them. J.H. Mensah called his lawyer Akufo-Addo and said, Nanado, is this something that we can do? Speaker says that a list has come from the President that the people are called retained ministers. Is there something like retained ministers in the Constitution? Nana Akufo-Addo said, no, there's nothing like that. The NDC said there's something. I said, no, let's go to the Supreme Court. They went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court determined that every minister's tenure ends with the president. And that when the president goes to an election and he's re-elected, the ministers must come through vetting again. And that's what we have used since then. That is why Ghana's democracy has been admired. That is why in the book that I wrote, I talked about the Supreme Court as being the backbone of Ghana's constitutional existence. Without the Supreme Court, we won't be here. It's the same thing Justice Tokonu is doing. She's a Chief Justice. She's been told that an impeachment has come against her, pursuant to Article 1466. She goes through the process. She's very unhappy about many things in the process. Nonetheless, they remove her. She doesn't see the prima facie, the warrant of removal. She thinks it's wrong, etc., etc. She says, okay, you've removed your Chief Justice. I'm going back to the court. They say, hey, no, you can't come. We have removed you as both. When the Constitution prescribes how you remove a Supreme Court judge, different and distinguished from how you remove a Chief Justice, is that how we want to run our republic? Answer the question yourself, viewers. Answer the question yourself. Now, I have to move on. Let's get on to the military conversation right now. Okay, viewers, very simple before I go to Team Fojo. I'm doing this as a matter of emotional passion. So don't blame me when I get very emotional. Because I'm soldier. Yeah, I'm soldier. I grew up in Burma camp all my life. And I've seen something that is terribly dangerous. It is so dangerous. If we are not careful, we are losing our armed forces. This is the diagram that I put together. It's called the civilization of the military. In the days when I lived in Burma camp, this is the Ghana Armed Forces. The Ghana Armed Forces inside the barracks had its own schools. I attended one of them. Great school. It had its own markets. I've been there so many times. They call it soldier market. And there's everything there. There is nane. Do you know nane? Nane is the pig's feet, the one they can use for jollof. It can be very nice. They sell nane at the Burma camp market. There's shop. It's called Gaffy. It's like Maxmart or those departmental kind of shops. It's there. It's right there in Burma camp. Subsidized. And there's hospital. I'll show you some of the photographs. So I lived in Burma Villas, number 27 Burma Villas. I'll never forget. My telephone number was 3304. Now 27 Burma Villas, okay. From number 27 Burma Villas to the school I attended called Garrison Primary School, it's a walking distance. It's 5-6 minutes walk. When my father, who was a soldier, wakes up in the morning and he's preparing his stuff, he doesn't think about how I will go to school. It's not part of his thinking. I will just walk to school. He knows that I will. If I am ready when he's ready, he just might drop me in front of the school and then he will continue to his office. When I'm standing in my school, I can see my father's office. When my father is in his office, he can see the school. When I move a little bit away from the school, I can see my house. It was the same for all my friends. We're all like that. Those of you who live in Burma Villas, you go to Garrison Primary or Kotuka Primary. And then those who live in Labadi Villas will go to Services Primary. Those who live in Arakan will go to Forces Primary. Those who live in Air Force will go to Air Force Primary. And the schools were so good that we could come out of these schools and go to Presec and compete with the people who went to Morningstar and all of these Dadaba schools. We could do that because the soldiers made sure that the school was good. Today, it's not the same. Colleagues of mine that I went to Garrison Primary with who have become military officers, some of my colleagues are brigadier generals right now. I don't want to mention their names. They can't take their children to the same schools that we went to. They have to take their children to the civilian school that's more expensive. And that's where we are losing our military. The hospital was there. Let me show you some of the photographs. Okay. So these are the schools. Okay. That's the entrance to my school, Garrison Primary School. It's still there. P.O. Box 243, Burma Camp Accra. This is the entrance. You can't see the school well, but it's nicer than this. But this is the entrance. This is Garrison Primary School, where I studied. Then this is Services Primary School, where my younger sister studied. This is Services Primary School. It's there. And then this is Air Force Base Primary School. This is it. It's still there. It's there. This is Douala Hospital. Now, this Douala Hospital, many of you don't know it. You know 37. No, 37 is tertiary. Douala Hospital was the hospital that when we get malaria, we are sick, and they take us to Douala. It's inside Burma Camp. You don't see it. So the soldiers had a way of working that they don't need to spend like the civilians. They have a shop, they have a market. But today, Garrison Primary School is not functioning the same way it's functioning. It used to function. If I am an army officer today of the rank of colonel, like my colleagues in the Burma Camp, they don't take their children to Services Primary School anymore because Services Primary School can no longer compete with Morning Star, it cannot compete with Soul Clinic, and it cannot compete with Rich Church School. We used to compete with them. So good was the competition. I'll show you something else. Here, this is Christ the King School. We could compete with them and even beat them. We go to Presec with them. We go to St. Augustine's. Many other people went to Garrison Primary School. Our scientists, they are doctors in America. They are all over the place. Even beauty pageant. Girls from Burma Camp were winning Miss Ghana. Should I mention their names? Maybe they don't want me to mention their names. But girls we grew up with were winning Miss Ghana. They go from Services Primary School. They are in Wesley Girls. They are in St. Rosie's. They are in Holy Child. They are going to University of Ghana. They win Miss Ghana. That is how Burma Camp was. Today, it's not like that anymore. The soldier must take his child to Christ the King and take his child to Morning Star and go and pay hefty fees to reach the school. I had a teacher who taught me, who used to live with us. He's called Mr. Ofair. I'm sure he doesn't mind me mentioning his name. Mr. Ofair today teaches at Morning Star School. Many years ago, he called me. He said he saw me on TV. He was very excited, asking where's my mother, blah, blah, blah. And they always ask that question. Mr. Ofair teaches at Morning Star School. Mr. Ofair. Mr. Asante, who was my teacher in primary school, today is teaching at Christ the King. Why can't Mr. Asante continue to teach at Garrison the way he taught? He was a great teacher. He's still a fantastic teacher. He's teaching at Christ. He's now teaching at Christ the King. I see him and I said, Mr. Asante, where are you? So I'm in Christ the King. He couldn't, the Burma Camp could not hold him. There's something that is getting wrong with our military, and we must look at it carefully. Otherwise, we are losing the military. If we make the military civilian, when I was a kid growing up, you don't see soldiers in town sitting in trotro. No way. No way. That should never happen. A soldier, then he's at 37, then the trotro has come, then he's wearing camouflage. I look at the thing and I'm mortified. What is this? Where did our military go? What has happened to the... That's why sometimes I miss J.J. Rawlings. What has happened to the military? Military people come to Burma Camp, they take off their clothes and they come to the civilian. If you see soldiers in town, they are waiting for a military truck that will pick all of them and go. So they don't join, they look at the trotro, they don't join it. If there's a quarrel, they can settle it. They are not interested in the trotro. A military truck will come and pick them. How much does it cost? How much does it cost? We really need to make sure that our military is going back to the days where it was an independent military. It doesn't have to come to town to come and get bread and come to Maxmart, and the market in Burma Camp doesn't have this, so they are coming to town. The schools are not good, so they are coming to town. The Douala Hospital doesn't have malaria pills, so they are coming to town. Soldiers should not need to come to town. So good were the schools in Burma Camp that high-profile government officials brought their children there. And I can say this because their children were in my class. Justice D.F. Annan, he was the number 2 person in the PNDC. Justice Annan brought his children to Garrison Primary School. I think they were in Morning Star or something like that. Because Garrison Primary School was as good as Morning Star, it was as good as Christ the King, it was as good as Rich Church. So Justice Annan brought his children there. Miss Joyce Ayi brought her son to Burma Camp Secondary School. Alhaji Mumuni Baumia, he brought his son to Burma Camp School. His name is Yakubu Baumia. These days they call him Jake. I sat in the same classroom with Yakubu Baumia. His father was Mumuni Baumia. My father was Major Archery. It didn't matter because Garrison Primary School was a very good school. Garrison Primary School is still there. The question, Sefakai was in Garrison Primary School. Patrick Ban, he's a scientist in America. He was in Garrison Primary School. Mensa Wood's children, they were in Garrison Primary School. Everybody was in services and Garrison and Forces and Air Force. Bridget Jugbenuku, she was in Forces Primary School. So what has happened is very, very dangerous and it's very, very serious. If we don't retool our military so that the military forces can stay in Burma camp, why is military recruiting and we can see it? Why should we see it? Military is recruiting at Elwak and we are all, hey, soldier. Why? Military is recruiting and it is in all of us, it's on our phones. Ghana has been embarrassed. The whole world. Everybody's asking. Military recruiting and it's a conversation, everybody is seeing it. I don't even want people to know I'm being recruited in the military. So you see, they are standing in the queue. When you're looking at them, they turn. Have you noticed? When you're looking at them, they turn away. Military is recruiting. We are doing it in the heart of the capital. And we are kete, everybody is there. Hey, just soldier. Military is a distinguished service. It's a distinguished career. We shouldn't know when military is recruiting. There should be some trucks that is driving them into Burma camp. They pick them from somewhere. They could have put all of them at the Legon Stadium. You know you are expecting 21,000 people. The team Fojo will deal with those things. You know you're expecting 21,000 people. They could have put them at the Legon Stadium. Each day, 5,000. Drive them to Burma camp, to the Air Force Station. You can drive them to Military Academy, to the square, and put them there. So all we'll see is buses wheeling some people somewhere. What is military is recruiting and we are all inside. And people are filming and filming what? The DPR has a television setup. They should be the only people to film these things. Nobody should be allowed to bring mobile phone in there. This is about the military. It's not military for me, for you. It's Ghana Armed Forces. We should get serious in this country. Democracy doesn't mean we should undermine the military. It is key and critical that we get this thing right. I'll leave it here. Time is running. I'll leave it here. Let me go to the Reverend Tim Fojo. He has more information than I do on these matters. He's a ranking member for the Defense and Interior Committee, isn't it? Honorable, good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
How embarrassing was what happened yesterday?
No, truly, truly embarrassing. Really sad day, Black Wednesday. I mean, in this modern day, how could recruitment into the military result in stampede, resulting, I mean, the soldiers we have military police who are trained to ensure that even in when civilians situations are getting out of hand, they keep it under control. But here we are, 6 young ladies haven't died. But it tells a lot.
Ladies, that makes it more tragic.
Very vulnerable. You know, ladies are very vulnerable.
They were stepping on them?
They were stepping on them.
My goodness.
Some fell down. This morning when we visited the Committee on Defense and Interior, myself, the chairman, Honorable Agaga, we went to 37 Military Hospital. You would be so sad to see the victims, boys, young men, young ladies. And there were even 5 who were in ICU. And by the nature of their condition, we didn't even want to get there for cameras to capture them, fighting for their lives. This is a reflection of a deep, deep leadership crisis within the defense system in this country. And I agree with you on the very passion that you have had to outline how the standards of military is degenerating. Something fast has to be done.
Something has to be done.
Because in the past, Paul, this is not the first time we are having military
I've seen that. So what happened this year?
Over the years, we've had it. You recall, even in 2008, people are there. It's because this time round, there's many, many applications. Recall that in as far back as 2008, during President Kufuor's time, the director of manpower at Ghana Armed Forces was Honorable Colonel Kojo Damwa, the Member of Parliament for German South, my respected colleague. And he saw that there was 58,000 applications. So decentralized. In those days, we had 10 regions. But he still further realized that by data, the applications coming to Elwak alone, Accra, Greater Accra alone, was overwhelming. So he had to further decentralize Accra recruitment.
What did he do?
So he created extra centers so that he scheduled the applicants, the potential recruits, to various places, Carnegie Sports Stadium and other places at different times. so that in very decent and orderly manner, they will be attended to. And so we need to, but I want to, first and foremost, commiserate with the bereaved families, the families who have lost their loved ones, their dear ones, our dear citizens. May their souls rest in peace. Our sympathies are with the wounded who are fighting for their lives. These deaths and these injuries must count for something. They ought to be compensated. They ought to be, for those who are alive, even further to compensation, they need to ensure that when they recover, the kind of injury is such that even when you recover, you will not be fit to get into military. Alternative, sustainable job has to be secured for them. But we'll come to that. So
was it poor planning?
Very poor planning. What should have been done, and what was always done in the past, is that when the online applications are received, at the back end, you'll be able to know the numbers that selected various centers. And then you schedule according to the numbers that have come. And you further have to categorize it into those who selected Army, selected Navy, who selected Air Force. And different dates are scheduled for them. You would also observe that much more numbers would select Army. So they will further schedule them according to days and send them specific text messages, giving them specific days that they ought to report to manage the numbers. But even when there had been such numbers, which were quite overwhelming, there had been deployment of adequate numbers of military police. Can you guess how many military police were deployed? 2.
Oh, are you
2
serious?
per every regional center. So 2 military police were deployed.
Accra was expecting 21,000.
Absolutely, and they deployed 2 military police. You would have.
Shouldn't somebody be resigning?
You would see what has happened is very serious. You will see a number of other soldiers with guns and other stuff, but they are not trained for crowd control. They don't have that expertise. But for those, the military police who have the expertise, military police deployment. 2, there's a lot to probe in this matter. There is a lot to probe in this matter.
Somebody should be resigning. Somebody should be taking responsibility for it.
The commander-in-chief must be the one. The backs must stop with him.
Yeah, he must sack somebody.
There were a lot of operational lapses, and there are also lots of leadership crises. Because, Paul, we're talking about a military who were very eager. Their commander-in-chief, the president, was so eager to make changes, cut deep, and make changes at the high command. We talked about it. They didn't listen. After that, they went further to make a lot of changes. Almost every director, almost every commandant of brigades of various units were all reshuffled around. And so when you bring in an entirely fresh team with the greatest of respect to the competence and expertise of our soldiers, but then you are bringing in new teams. If you bring a new journalist to take over your show today because you're on leave, it's his first time they'll fumble. And so when you know that you have reassigned fresh soldiers to fresh roles at various levels, and you still for 3 months have been operating without a substantive minister for defense who would give them...
Was it 3 months already?
Yes, over 3 months.
Oh, I see.
Yes, 3 months and about 2 weeks or so.
But as a deputy minister.
The deputy is deputy. There's a reason why in such a complex national security architecture it's been so designed that the head of the military institution ought to be the minister for defense and not deputy minister. Deputy is only there to support. And so that kind of high level guidance, if we had a minister full-time, substantive, who is not divided between presenting budget and between engaging soldiers to discuss operational plans and broad guidelines, they would have known that they they advertised, made a lot of talks about recruiting,
yes. Including Sam George with the age of 35 and
they
all
even
of that.
wanted to Sam George, they even wanted to bring in 35 over age people to get into non-tradesmen. Very, very bizarre. So all these things we need to probe, even to find out the one we are hearing. The people who thronged there, were they really even eligible to be there? And that is another matter. But when you want to recruit only 4,000 people,
well, that's the space available.
Only 4,000. Financial clearance they obtained
nationally or Accra?
Nationally.
Are you serious?
Only 4,000 financial clearance.
The entire national availability of spaces for the armed forces.
4,000 for this year.
It's 4,000
for this year.
And Accra alone had 21,000.
Accra alone had 21 overall. About 80,000 applied.
Out of 80,000, they'll take 4,000.
Out of 80,000, they'll take 4,000. And out of the 80,000, about 60,000 qualified. So you see, so you are generating about 16
Can't
million.
We take 10,000?
And they charge 200 cedis per person. And so, are you only interested in generating IGF? Is there a question about releases?
Well, the forms were
goods
not
and services? No, they pay 200 cedis.
You want to go to the armed forces, you pay.
You pay 200 cedis. Even when you have to go to do medicals, you must still pay. Paul, there's a lot of reform going forward we are going to suggest.
So 200 cedis times 80,000 is what the armed forces get.
About 16 million.
16 million.
About 16 million.
Ghana cedis.
And then after all these, the back end of your system, your platform, must inform you that even though you think you have decentralized to every region, there are still some overly subscribed centers, i.e. LWAC and Ashanti region, for which further decentralization should have been occasioned, even before you go ahead announcing and communicating. And even when you are going to schedule them, you need to schedule them optimally. And when you have done the scheduling, you need to have optimal deployment of military police to ensure there's order. That is what was lacking. But another thing that was quite telling and revealing was that whilst the young men and women, very brave, eager, potential soldiers had potential recruits were waiting at the entrance, they would be there and they would see some soldier will come and pick mention some 10-20, whisk them in.
Wow.
And then 10-20, whisk them in.
Oh,
so that anxiety was building up that perhaps if I don't have anybody who would send my name to be called, I might probably spend 24 hours here and go back without entry. And so that kind of agitation, all those, so people were trying to climb walls. They were trying to force their way into the premises, and all these stampede occurred. But be that as it may, Paul, we are calling that the entire military recruitment process has to be halted, so that we can probe. Yes, it has to be halted, so we can probe. We don't want the death toll to escalate. We want to halt it, probe it, and then when we have assisted them to put the right measures in place, then it can recommence. But going forward, what we should do in this 21st century modern era, one is to ensure that this crowding thing does not occasion when we are recruiting. We should be able to have regional centers established, and recruitment should not be on annual basis. It should be a weekly process. It should be a monthly process. You know, if on the website of Ghana Armed Forces, as and when financial clearance is being obtained, you can program it. If you're going to obtain 4,000, financial clearance for a year, you can still spread it around the year. And then across various regions, you would know a permanent center, probably attached to a military base, a permanent center where you would walk in, or prior to that, you would have submitted your forms online, and then if you pass the initial screening.
What about the cadets in the schools? Can there be a basis for recruitment in the secondary schools?
That is the low-hanging fruits, because these young people who have gone through.
Because you can get 4,000 from
basic
Adisadel cadets, St. Augustine's cadets, Pokuare cadets, Duara Kwanta Secondary School cadets.
You can get them. And then when you're done, the others who may not probably be in.
Maybe West Eagles has a cadet.
They all have, and TVET institutions, and those that are also from the informal sector may be coming in, bandsmen, agricultural technicians, and others who may be coming in from informal sources. When they know that you have a center dedicated in every region, and on a weekly basis, they can fill their forms online, submit it, go there, have their body selection, and then be able to set aptitude tests that is computer generated, that is not manual, prone to any protocol, partisan considerations or favoritism, and they will sit it, and there will be various versions that will be generated of the same standards everywhere for people to sit it when they're able to, based on the strength that will come out from the aptitude test, you would know that this one will have to be trained for artillery, this one will have to go for armory, this may have to be in a medical field, this may have to be in administrative, this may have to be assigned signals. All these can be determined from the outcome of the aptitude test. Then those who qualify from there can at that point be scheduled to go to facilities to undertake their medical tests.
So what's the state of affairs? Accra was, is it rescheduled, postponed? What's happening?
So only Accra is on hold, has been suspended. But all the other centers are ongoing. They are adamant. They will not even listen to advice.
What did the budget statement say about? Is it going to increase the 4,000, the clearance for more than, is it going to get more than 4,000 people?
The plan for the next 4 years is 4,000 each year. That is
every year.
That is, yes.
So by the 4 years, 16,000.
That is what, and 1 year is already gone. So by the next 3 years, 12,000. And that is what they miscommunicated and created the impression that they were recruiting all 12,000 this year.
Oh,
so it's 4,000 every year.
12,
yes, for the next 3 years. But see, one thing, now coming back to, so if you're able to put in this measure, you will avoid situations where people must crowd. If you saw some of the videos, they were crawling, they were dragging, you know, they were sitting on the floor, queuing and pushing, moving. Maybe I may not even.
Why didn't they open the whole stadium for everyone to get in? What was the problem? They can't fit in?
Yeah, I mean, this is a whole control failure. It's a whole process failure.
Somebody must be held responsible for this. People have died. Somebody must be held responsible.
Military, by their modus operandi, for such ahead of such a major exercise, will rehearse.
Yes,
will rehearse. So there's a
and
lot
when
to
I went
prove.
there Tuesday night, when I left here, and I drove past the place, people were there. They had started arriving Tuesday night.
So there's
like midnight, 1 a.m.
There's a lot to probe. I'm expecting that by now there should be a board of inquiry being constituted to look into it at their military level. But for us as parliamentarians, as part of our oversight, we are also going to probe. The acting Minister for Defense be hauled before us, the Chief of Defense Staff and all the relevant officers who will be helpful in giving us information and then answer our interrogations for us to get to the bottom. You know, we're going to go into it. But this year's budget, you mentioned something that is a similar thing has played out here. Very, very, very bizarre. Paul, can you believe that when under President Akufo-Addo, he sought to acquire 6 fighter jets for the Ghana Armed Forces. And the agreement, 111 million euros, got to the floor of Parliament, and Hansard captured it. During the debate, NDC stood and vehemently opposed the fighter jets. In the end, that move was torpedoed. We still brought agreements for the acquisition of 2 offshore patrol vessels for the Ghana Navy, modern warships. They torpedoed it. And made all sort of pronouncements that the aircraft we have, they are modern. They will only expire 2030. And so there's no need to buy new ones. They resisted every attempt to modernize the Ghana Armed Forces, to add to their fleet, and to resource their might. Today, guess what they are going to buy? 2 luxury jets, 4 helicopters.
Is it a budget?
That is what the finance minister just indicated this evening.
Luxury jets.
2 jets.
Not military.
2 jets and 4 helicopters. Now they are going back to the same 2 offshore patrol vessels they torpedoed. They are now seeing the need. And what is so missing, sadly, is the 6 fighter jets. They are turning the Ghana Armed Forces into a transportation agency so that the politicians will be able to have their private jets to travel around, will have their comfortable helicopters to sit in to travel around. But the military is a fighting force, Paul. The military is a fighting force. So when you are considering their critical and urgent needs, you, the politician, if you want to buy a private jet so that you can fly around, I have said on your show, I am not opposed to getting a befitting jet for the president. But you buy 1, you don't buy 2. And then you must now prioritize the rest of the funding left to buying fighter jets and unmanned area vehicles for and APCs for the Ghana Armed Forces to resource their might. They are not transportation agents to be there transporting politicians here and
Dignitaries.
there. And so if you are going to buy 4 helicopters, you could have bought 2 helicopters. So that if you are giving one for presidential travel, fine, and then 1 jet for presidential travels, fine. But you add on 1 helicopter if in the modest resources of the state, but the rest of the resources ought to be channeled into fighter jets. In this country now, if any strange aircraft should get into our airspace unapproved, what fighter jets are we going to fly to go and confront the situation in our space and to get it off and to be openly confronted? We are fighting Galamsey. We are in an era where NIMOS, after the government has commissioned NIMOS soldiers to go and fight Galamsey, they turn around the back door and go and embolden full soldiers to openly attack soldiers. Paul, that is how bad the situation is. We've seen it on videos. So at a time when even our men in uniform are fighting for their lives and only God is saving them from the hands of political foot soldiers. The time has come for us to rather be prioritizing in line with our national security strategy and in line with our national security priorities. We align our procurement where it is right. This is the time you buy unmanned area vehicles, for instance, which are armed, and then it would fly over the water bodies where it's unapproved, our forest areas where it has not been approved for Galamsey for gold mining to be done, but people are mining, and then to shoot and scare, not to shoot and kill. And at that point, party NDC apparatchiks will not be able to attack the unmanned area drone. It is unmanned.
Wow.
At that point, you are even removing the risk of compromise on the part of some people that you may deploy who may give in to compromises. These are the directions if we truly want to fight and safeguard our environmental stewardship, save our forests, save our waters. We need to align our spending and procurements not only for the chop. It's not just for the chop. It must be properly aligned to our national security priorities. But if you look at what they are proposed to buy, 2 jets and 4 helicopters, it is just going to be turned into a transportation agency rather sadly, and is unfortunate. Paul.
Well, okay, let me go to the text messages and then we'll be wrapping up right now. Should I start with Fatih? Answer, what are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Coming from Dash Thinken, he says, watching the cry of parents who lost their gallant young girls is very heartbreaking. Amagana, where have we gone wrong as a country? Ame Patrick says, very sensible input. Inokose says, Ghana is now a laughing stock. EBFS says, you are spot on with your analysis, Paul. Sadly, it's a failure at the highest command of the military. The CDS is simply not up to the task. Coming from Diamond Ruth, he says, it's true, military school used to be hot cake. And then lastly, coming from Master Planner, he says, policy analyst Mr. Paul, I agree with you 100%. The military is losing its relevance bit by bit. Their style of activities has changed dramatically to the negatives. Their uniforms are now not scary like it used to be, even though it is still the same uniform. They should up their game. Over to you, Fatih.
Alright, so coming from Mike, Eric, he says, but this is the same military you left the country barely a year ago, Honorable Reverend Team. Does that mean you didn't equip the military properly with these protocols? Honorable Max B says, you are very deep. Keep teaching the NDC. They really need your tutorials because they don't have a clue. Fawaz from Amasaman says, this is the results you get when the president sacks all experienced generals of the armed forces. President Mahama didn't do well at all. The families of the deceased must come together and sue the government for negligence. The GFA owed the recruits a duty of care and must sue for huge damages. Harishimi Guy says Mahama is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's supposed to take the blame. He should render apology to Ghanaians and sack those who need to be sacked. And lastly, coming from Master Planner Gina, says, I agree with you 100%. The military is losing its relevance bit by bit. Their style of activities has changed dramatically to the negatives. Their uniform are not scary like it used to be, even though it's still the same uniform. They should please up their game. Now back to you, Paul.
I also have some text messages here. Let me just complete with them. There is Samuel Brian Boabin says, it's quite long, says, yesterday's tragic and entirely preventable incident at the Owak Stadium underscores the urgent need to overhaul the recruitment process of the Ghana Armed Forces. The government intends to recruit 12,000 soldiers over 4 years, yet more than 80,000 forms were sold in a single year, placing undue strain on unemployed young people. We must reconsider how to create sustainable jobs for youth instead of permitting this exploitation by the security agencies. The 200 Ghana cedis taken from struggling citizens should not be used as an internally generated funds by a respected institution like the Ghana Armed Forces, especially when fewer than 1% of applicants will eventually be enlisted. Ghana youth deserve better. We cannot continue to be a nation that talks without acting. President Mahama and his enablers must begin to reflect seriously. Okay, Guy G says that, why can't the Ghana Armed Forces adopt the American military style of recruitment? The American military recruitment by holding information sessions, career fairs, and by running programs like the Reserve Officers Training Corps, which helps students commission as officers after graduation. Recruiters also visit high schools, community colleges, and local officers, and may be present at other campuses, events in the surrounding communities. Sorry about that. That's very good and that's very interesting. It's been a long day, isn't it? 26 minutes past top of the eye level. Reverend Team Forger, what's your last word on this?
Yeah, so let us all support to make things better, and the people in government must also be listening to suggestions and views. For the past 3 months, no substantive defense minister. I don't know what tragedy again or further they are expecting to happen before they heed to the cause to appoint a defense minister substantive. You can't have, I mean, even if you had for a very short period a minister for interior acting as minister for defense, makes sense because it's pretty much related, the same and the principles. Is joint in Parliament. And this, the compare notes, they work together all the time. They hold joint meetings all the time. But you have assigned that to a completely different portfolio. Finance. As big and sophisticated as finance, which in some countries is even further split in two. So it is, we really don't understand the principle and thinking behind this. But whatever that is, it's been flawed. Events happening on the day, rising insecurity, and all these lapses that we are seeing, reflecting deep leadership crisis, ought to be fixed immediately.
Okay, viewers, thank you very much for staying with us. The weekend is here, so you know what to do. No drunk driving around. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Doing the Christian things